Aloha!
Aloha,
My name is Krista Laxmi-Detten,
and I'm Michael Ditton.
and we are Infinite,
Activation,
coming to you from.
sunny Southern California, South San Diego.
And today we have a very exciting topic as the Valentine's Day is approaching.
Valentine's Day, what's that?
It's a day, a very special day.
Oh, something I should know about.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
I think you have something under kind of in the project kind of.
I am going to cook you a special dinner.
Yum.
Yep.
So the topic will be what has reverse motivation to do with love? And first we want to share with you how we see and some examples about reverse motivation and how that can actually help you to get maybe through challenges and also projections which people oftentimes can put on you and actually create a really amazing life for yourself.
And if you're not certain what reverse motivation is, it's like somebody telling you can't do something, and then it either makes you consciously or subconsciously do what they tell you can't. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. So my first example is with the professor in South Africa in Cape Town University, who told me that I am not good enough to continue with my master's studies in anthropology. And guess what I did?
You got your master's and you went back and flew it in front of his face.
Yeah, I actually,
excuse me.
After the first semester, we had to do a little movie project in the visual anthropology I was studying in Northern Norway. And then I traveled back to start to do my master's movie. And I was actually presenting that movie in that same department and also with that same professor present. So he was kind of very quiet.
Yeah, as he should be.
Yeah.
He's eating crow.
Yeah. And then later, of course, I finished the degree and did my master's movie or documentary actually in South Africa, which is another topic for another day.
Yeah.
And then, so he said, I can't do it. And I just told inside of me, watch me, and I did it.
Yeah.
So, and what's your story?
I think my biggest one is when I quit high school, and I don't encourage people to quit high school. I think education is very important. As I grew older, I took a lot of courses and classes and that to continue my education. I still do to this day. But back then, in 10th grade, I decided that I was bored with school. I was working already full time. I enjoyed working. I wanted to move on. And I had a lot of people tell me, especially adults, mainly adults, told me that if I quit school, I'll amount to nothing. And I knew better than that. And matter of fact, it didn't even faze me when I was, being told that because, I had a plan. I may have not known exactly what it was or how I was going to get there or anything else, but I knew that I would prove them wrong. And at 17, I had a goal to be financially independent by the time I hit 35. And I was a little short of that. Life threw me some curveballs, which I got through. And some of you know about those stories. Some you'll hear about them again. But at 36, I became financially independent. Now, that doesn't mean I was as wealthy as Bill Gates and I could retire and live happily for the rest of my life. But I was in a position where I didn't have to worry about my bills and I could live life on my terms. And it was a few years later that I actually sold everything, jumped on my sailboat, and took off and did extensive sailing for 9 years. And of course, I always look back at those people that told me I would never amount to anything. And while I was sailing, I was wondering what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then during that tail end of that trip, we bumped into each other in Mexico.
We did.
And you, at that point, hadn't even heard much about Estonia.
I don't know if if I had, I hadn't thought anything about it.
And now it's a different story.
Yep. I love Estonia. I love what Estonia has brought to me and presented to me in this beautiful package. And as we go back in the summertime and spend time there, get to see the beautiful countryside and the cultural aspect of it, the people, the history. I mean, it's
food.
Yeah.
Sauna.
Most of the food. Saunas, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially the naked part, right?
Of course.
Everyone naked.
Always.
Yeah. So the second part now, we are going to take a route like to connect it now to love. I have shared with many of you in my private storyline how I was working with this multimillionaire in Mexico, and this really didn't end very good. So I had to kind of escape from there. And the last conversation I had with this man was basically, he told me, you will never be loved or love anyone anymore. And that was 2014 November. And then 1 month later, Michael walked into my life. So as this was said to me, I also kind of did a little vow with myself, like, okay, I promise myself I will not chase men or opportunities with men anymore. I will just focus on myself and my life mission and my work. And if needed to be, I can be married to my work, and I know I will have, it will take care of me. So that will be it. So I will be happy like that. So as I got to Mexico, to close to Puerto Vallarta back again, I started to regroup my whole life and figured out, how to organize it and do things differently. And one thing that experience gave me was basically when you don't have money and your finances are not in order, you will be always, influenced so much more by others. They can push and pull you whatever direction they want, and you have not much to say about, how to live your life on your terms. So I knew that I have to change my finances and get them back on track as soon as I can. And that's what I did. I made a plan for my 12 months online class, and I got an arrangement with living conditions there, and I worked as a workaway, and then had an apartment there. And as this process was going on, then Michael was kind of brought into the picture. And this was the time also where I started to understand that in case I would really like to change the history or the track record I had or had with love or relationships, I have to change something really completely deeply inside of me. And I started to write down my self-declaration during that time. And one of those things was that I will take time now to heal myself and get myself back together, to figure out what I want and how I want, so that I can, create a new life where, I will also have more conditions according to what works for me. And my relationships had been like, when I go back to 1999, where my partner at the time, who I have also son together, came home and said, sorry, I have another woman, kind of like move out, and before I even moved out, a new woman moved in. So it was a really crazy situation, and it really hurt me, and it took me almost 5 years to get over that. And after that, I didn't realize it. It was subconsciously in me, but I was actually hunting for love. I traveled to 30 countries, and I was hunting for love in subconscious way, wanting to meet people or men or situations where I would have got that love, And that also sometimes happens when you have the background coming from a broken family, like I was, and then it's just intentional. You just go out there and you don't even know it, you're just doing it. And as a woman, when you do that, when you chase love, what is love doing?
It's probably putting up a little resistance.
Resistance, or it will go away because it's a pushing energy, so it pushes away. So that moment when I kind of realized, like, okay, I quit chasing, I quit just doing all of that, and focused more deeper even into my, self-love and loving and learning how to love my inner family, then everything started to really change. And also the fact that I was in Mexico was actually the guidance my inner family had given me several years prior to that. And I was brave enough to follow that. And now we have Michael here. So Michael just coming out from a very difficult situation as well.
Yeah, when we met in December of 2014, I certainly wasn't looking for love consciously or subconsciously, because I'd been with my partner for 22 years at that time, and we'd been married for 20 of the 22 years, and it was a sudden separation. So I was going through, I was processing everything that was going on at that point in time. And as we connected, part of that process was the support that we gave each other and healing that we gave each other. And with that, we had communicated enough that we knew that we needed to, neither one of us were really prepared to be in any type of relationship, but we could support each other. And if there was ever a hope of a relationship, we needed to make sure that our individual platforms were healed and strong
and clear.
And mine certainly wasn't, because I was going through a separation, not even knowing whether I would be divorced or not divorced at that time. In my mind, I was already going to be divorced because of the circumstances. But that clarity and everything that went along with it took a whole year for us to go through.
And then as this process was going on, Michael also decided that he needs to go and see if it's possible to fix, that prior relationship. For me, that was the time where I was like completely broken, because I couldn't understand, how can universe give me this beautiful king and, my spirit mate, and then take him away. But I also understood that I can't force anyone to be with me or, hold on to them, kind of against their will. So I completely detached and let go, and I even unfriended you on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, and it was really necessary, because if we hadn't done this, you would always have been, wondered, what if,
Yeah, well, for starters, one, I wasn't, I'm not a quitter, so I need to make sure that, I wasn't, because of the hurt and everything else, I wasn't quitting. But on the other hand, there was not any closure. So whether it was going to work or not work, I needed to do something. There was no way anything would work if I didn't do this. And of course, out of respect for Crystal, if I hadn't done that, not only would that uncertainty continue to go on for God knows how long, but quite honestly, it would have shown that, I'm the type of person that either quits or gives up easily, or doesn't, I needed to do this for more than one reason. So.
And for me, that was also a kind of reverse way, like a good thing to see that, okay, like, this person is really wanting to see, where things are and get clarity, and then also get clarity for your future. Mm-hmm. So as Michael was going through this, I was working on my self-declaration, and the new sentence came in there, which was, if a married man comes and is really interested in me, then they should show me that their partner is agreed, has agreed for them to meet me or, date me, or that they will bring me their divorce paper. And that was the case, what you brought.
Yep. After, a month or two trying to process and figure out and see if there was anything left and come into the conclusion that there wasn't, then the divorce was the next phase. And by the end of the year, I was, legally divorced.
And in that process also, what may happen when you have been together with someone for so long, when this goes apart, you actually also, may lose motivation for anything, because it's been so big part of your life. So it's kind of also like from another angle, kind of reverse motivation, because then you have no motivation, and then also, your love is kind of hanging in the air, because the love oftentimes needs a little direction, where to go, what's next, and if nothing is there, it just hangs, it just floats.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say might lose motivation. I would say definitely will lose motivation. Yeah. Now there's circumstances that may make it easier or more difficult. You know, was it a bad relationship? Was it one, you know, there's different factors in there, but when you think you're going to spend the rest of your life with somebody and that changes overnight, you're going to lose motivation. So you're going to lose motivation for love. You're going to lose motivation for, you know, anything and everything. I was so devastated during that time period, and Crystal saw it, that that wound took a long time to heal. So
yeah. And that was also necessary to give that wound time to heal.
Absolutely.
So, which we actually did. So we used that time to build those separate individual platforms very strong, so that we could start to build our common we platform together, and then already, you know, healed much more.
Yeah.
And this is a very amazing connection when you see your like motivation, love, and reverse motivation, how it all kind of comes together, and can, you know, help you to also reverse the way you have done things, or the way you finish something, or the way, you know, you didn't have motivation, for example. So you can also reverse your motivation. You can kind of activate your own motivation from inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure can.
So today we have also, as always, 3 questions. So the first one will be kind of the same question for you guys out there to think, you know, how is it in your life? If you think back, like, do you have any situations you can call back where you have had these moments of reverse motivation, which actually have really motivated you to do the opposite? And also if you have some, you know, stories which are connected to love as well, you know. So I don't know if this multimillionaire is still alive. Most probably he is, because these people just don't die. They are so strong. But, you know, sadly, you know, it's not true, because I realized that this person had put a projection on me. And that's what happens oftentimes when people are really mean and want to hurt you. So only some years later, I came back to that moment and I was like, oh my God, this is the projection which like he put on me. And then, of course, consciously, I dissipated that and dissolved that. So, and the fact of the matter is, you know, now we are happily married. We have been knowing each other for like 5 years, and it's just getting better and better
every day.
Yeah. So
screw you, rich guy.
Yeah. So it's a very, you know, interesting, you know, story. And so that's the second question. So think back in your life. Have you had moments where people have put projections on you? Many times it can also be inside your family. You know, someone is saying a bad thing, or they just like jealous, or like whatever, you know. And it's just, you know, it feels almost like a hologram or like a bubble around you. And once you become aware of it, you will actually break that bubble, and you will be free.
Yeah.
So, and the third thing is little, you know, gift or giveaway. We'll figure out what that is. But if some of you would like to write a little essay about the topic, what we talked about today, 2 pages of A4, or like the regular, you know, computer page, with Arial font 12 by the 15th of February by like 6 p.m. Pacific time. And they can send these to our email, infiniteactivation@gmail.com. And then we will figure out little something giveaway to the best story we get. And then we will also, if the person allows, also share it on our page. And if we have time, we can even read it loud. So it will be really exciting, something different. And other than that, we are very grateful to be here, share our stories, inspire you. And next week, we will have very exciting week again. What's going to happen next week?
I don't know. You tell me.
We will meet here again on Wednesday, because on Thursday we're going
to be with Brendan Burchard. So we got a 3-day event coming up, and we love Brendan.
Expert Academy. 3 days full of action, lots of inspiration and knowledge. So
talk about some wonderful people that we're going to be surrounded by. Probably 2,000 people there, and just it's incredible.
So we can see, maybe we'll even postpone our live after the event. We'll see, so that we can kind of share some of the highlights or so. So keep in touch and kind of check into our Facebook event. We will change the time accordingly, so it will be very exciting.
Absolutely.
And we will wish you all the best, and take care of your loved ones. And as the beautiful Valentine's Day is approaching, I give you also a little new tip. So when you are going to buy gifts or a gift to your loved one, so also think that maybe you could buy a little something to each inner family member, the inner child, the inner woman, and inner man. Each one of us, we have those in us, so that you can also show love to your partner's inner family. So it's not only just one person, but you have all of these elements. And if
it's a good way for a gal to get 3 gifts instead of 1 by
But this idea came to me because one of my love languages is gift giving, right? And then your inner family was saying that they also want a gift, so they didn't want just you.
I told them not to share that.
So it didn't work. So a new idea, and very exciting. It doesn't need to be something big, it may be something a person loves, a little something, but it makes a difference. And it's those little times when you think of someone and you know what they like, and it has a meaning, and you give it to them. It will show that you love them and you care about them. And this is what this is all about. We are here to love and be loved.
Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Aloha. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And mahalo.
Mahalo.